Welcome, Lounge Lizards, to another episode of Legion's Lounge. It's the other Monday. It's every other Monday, and this is the other Monday. It's episode 95 of Legion's Lounge, where we talk about all things Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figura Obscura, Customs, and other Mythic adjacent action figures and stuff. We got a good show, man. We got an awesome show. We got some awesome guests. We are your hosts. My name is Trevor 16 Shooter. With me, as always, Nate Strong at Corona4 and Bill Janowski at the Door Clear. What's up, boys? How you doing? How you been for the last 2 weeks? Good?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah. What's been happening? Anything? Have you picked anything up? Have you gotten anything in? Nate, have you gotten Econominus yet? Or no? Not yet.
Not yet, dudes. I'm dying. It's killing me. But I'm taking Bill's advice and I'm just
being okay with not having something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was good advice actually. Yeah, on the Door Clear today. I saw that just before I came down here, and that's what I'm trying to do too. Like, just be happy. You don't have to have everything. You could admire it from afar. If you really feel like you need it later on, you can get it.
It's
is
part of the
come up in our news
philosophy of like kind of starve yourself a little bit so that you really appreciate it. I did get something in. This was courtesy of Van and Jordan. The Purple Gang sent me over the Toylanta figure. And I got another look at that, and it is awesome. My light's not really shining on it here, but this thing is amazing.
And you did your review on it already, which was
my review is up. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Great review, as always.
I can't wait for that one, man. That one looks really, really cool. I can't wait.
There's
for that
something
show.
about like just the way the bare arms look with this. There's just something perfect about that silhouette, and it's
so badass.
Really well. You know, I definitely prefer the bare arms on that.
I do too on that one. Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to that, man. I can't wait. That's like end of March. I mean, we're right around the corner from there. Yeah.
Right after MesquiCon, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, there's so much going on. I mean, everybody's asking me about going to MesquiCon. I'd love to come to MesquiCon again, but I got toilet. I know. I mean, the fact that I could just stay at your house it is just like a plane trip. Like, I could just do it. And just go, but I don't know. We'll see. It may be a last minute thing. My wife is gonna. Speaking of which, Michigan, my wife is gonna kill me if I go to another con. I'm already going to Atlanta for the weekend, and then Japan, and then San Diego, and then so it's a little crazy.
Yeah,
a
lot.
It is a lot. We got a lot to talk about, but first off, Nate, you want to tell us who's in the chat?
You know what? Nah.
All right, screw it.
All right. No, of course I do.
No, okay.
Let's see. We're right up at the top. We got the one and only Blake, aka Recon Rage. He says, "I'm looking forward to this." Blake, we're looking forward to you letting us know how many days there is until.
Yeah, Blake, come on.
Legion's Con, come on, man.
Let's go.
Kevin and Boots, what's up? Derek Simmons, Rob Zamora, Dave Orkin, Brian Carr, Cloud Foxwell. Art by Ackerman.
Taking
what's
some
up,
great
Curtis?
pictures lately.
Yes. Jeremy Govier, Mike Casper. What is up, Mike? Get 2 dragons, Mike Casper. We are just texting about that. He said I enabled him. Boom. Ben K. I am TJ
You enabled
Williams.
him to get 2 dragons?
I will see. Maybe.
Wow.
Josh Brown. What's up, Josh? Kirby. Dusty.
You need to be on the other show.
Ben K. Jordan. Wholesome Morlocks here. J.D. Gibson, Greg Schmerberberber, Stacy Lynn, Thomas Belay, Jen Siak. What's up, Jen? Articulated Times, George, Agent Variant, Evening Gents, he says. Brian, Carver Customs. Man, he's speaking of MesquiCon. He's been showing off some really cool stuff he's going to be bringing to that show, and he's talk about enabled. I'm tempted with all of them. Mm-hmm. Joe Gonzalez, what's up, Joe? Mr. Ryan Clark Rohin from Down Under. Just a Silly Goose. That's a new one. Welcome. Joe Suter, what's up, Joe? Mr. Ryan Clark, William Houston. Collectible Fun, what's up, Matt? Captain McKay Random.
What's up?
Purple
I gotta talk to you, man.
Ray.
Been
And
doing
let's
some
see.
killer stop motion animation with Mythic Legions lately. Good stuff.
Pop up for a couple quick super chats right off the bat from our boy Kevin Maboots. $4.99. Time to sit back with your favorite libations and enjoy
Cheers.
the conversation with these masters of brush and pigments. Drink
Cheers,
that.
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. And Joe Gonzalez. I do need everything Four Horsemen and greatly appreciate all the help from everyone who helps me stay complete.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely,
it.
Joe. Yeah, speaking of which, let's get to a little bit of news. Should we bring our guests out first? I guess we could talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
let's
bring 'em
bring our
out.
guests out first. Yeah, we'll bring our guests out. We got a lot to talk about.
Want
so
me to bring him?
our guest
Okay.
tonight brush the colorful life into every Mythic Legion and Cosmic Legion that graces your shelf and my shelf. From the smallest goblins to the largest dragons. Please welcome Sherry Lynn Cook, Cameron Smith, Joe Vassapolo, and Eric Miller. What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey,
Welcome.
How's it going?
it's the new guy.
it's
Did you guys have an initiation
I'm just
for
gotta be green.
the new guy, or was there any like
Yeah.
hazing or anything?
I
I don't think it's necessary.
Soap in a sock or anything like that? Or
We're not that kind of crowd.
Well, this is awesome, man. I'm so glad we got this all together. It took a little bit to get everybody in one place. It always does. Like anytime there's like a group of people, it's always tough to get. Eric, you've been part of this twice now with the enablers. It was tough to get all the enablers into one place as well. I was informed that Bill Mancuso is also a painter at the studio. I thought he mainly did 3D stuff. But we've had Bill on the show, and I'm going to have Bill on the show again to talk about some of the stuff that he's done before.
Absolutely.
But shout out to Bill because he's one of my favorite people.
I sent them the link. If he may jump in at some
Okay.
point.
Well,
All right,
maybe
we'll keep an eye
maybe
out
we'll
for
get
him.
him on here for sure. But we're going to talk a little bit of news first, and you guys can jump in with your thoughts on this stuff, as I'm sure you have them, as much as Jeremy will let you talk about them. We got, let's see, let me bring this up here. This page right here. So we got some news. First of all, shout out to David Williams for this.
Yeah, he
awesome
nailed it.
illustration
It's
of
so
Barrett there.
freaking cool.
Amazing.
Just
As
looks
always.
so three-dimensional, man. Looks like it's
Yeah.
just coming right out of that blackness.
Yeah, I'll wear
Mhm.
that pin every day.
Hell
Yep.
yeah.
He should really do something with his art, man. He's pretty good. But this was not the announcement, but this is the next step of the announcement. A lot of people have been talking about the announcement. We got a price. We got a base price of $550 for the base dragon, which is with the semi-folded wings and the head that you see in all the pictures. This picture here, basically this dragon right here. There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
And we are promised that at some point this week we will be getting all the details before it goes live on Friday. The campaign will run from the 7th to is it the 7th or the 6th? Do we have the date exactly? It's a month.
Friday the 7th.
Okay. Of April. So you've got a month.
The end date? Actually, I don't know
Yeah, yeah.
specifically the end date. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I didn't look. Let me take a look. What do we got here in
It'll-
January?
Why you're looking that up? How did this get
Mhm.
here like so quick? I mean, it seems like we're just at
Right.
You're not
G-Con,
kidding.
right?
Yeah, you're
Like,
not-
learning about this bad boy, and
Yeah.
now it's
Yep.
just
Yep.
days away.
That's how it works.
1,
Crazy.
2, 3. It looks like it's going to be the 4th of April. We'll don't quote me on that, but I believe it's the 4th of April. It's going to run for 30 days. My math may be off, but there's going to be a live. Jeremy is going to do a live to talk about all the add-ons and the stretch goals that are going to come along with this. Little bit of this is not me telling tales out of school because I didn't even hear this, but I think the Purple Gang Boys squeezed something out of somebody, so
Oh,
I'm just
boy.
going to put it to them and say that they came up with this, and I'm just repeating it. The top goal will be 4,000. So if we hit 4,000, that is going to be unlock everything. Now, don't hold me to that either, because that's the Purple Gang boys. That's what they said. I just heard that in passing, so just thought I'd pass that along. We don't know if that's true or not, but you know,
What say
I
you?
don't think they put it up there. Yeah, really, Jordan.
So the
I've heard
purple
processor-
variant dragon
Oh, okay,
will unlock at 4,000. Is
That's
that what it is?
that's right. Yeah,
Oh, God.
that's right.
Uh-oh.
Can you imagine? Get working, Sherry.
Not
it. So yeah, so what do we think? People who can talk about this,
Me and Nate.
okay. I'm gonna say a little. Yeah, I know exactly. I'm gonna take this down for a second, but I'm gonna say I have heard some behind the scenes stuff, and this is as we always say about the Four Horsemen. They're giving us the best that they can give us, and still running a business, you know what I mean, that has to be profitable and pay these wonderful people that you see in front of you to do the wonderful things that they do. This is that, you know what I mean? This is that in a nutshell, man. They're not Hasbro, you know, the buying power of Hasbro. And if you think about some of the things that have come out in HasLabs and the structure of those, they're vehicles for the most part, or a giant figure, which they've already had, you know, the experience with tooling and stuff. Nobody's ever done anything like this, as far as I can remember. I mean, to this scale, like the tooling for this, the joints that are going into this, just the build. I mean, it's nuts. The paint that's going to go into this. That Sherry, I think this is mainly your baby, right? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it's my baby, but I did paint. Yeah, I did the paint work on
paint
it.
wise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
I
the
mean-
whole studio labored through this big time.
Oh yeah, of
you
course.
know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know. Well, I mean, I personally know how much Joe's put into this, getting this even just posed up, and the guys Bill and everybody making the dios and stuff for it.
I'm just a babysitter.
You're just,
Well,
I'm not the mama. I'm not the
Don't be
papa.
so
I'm the babysitter.
humble.
You do a good job. And there is stuff coming from everybody with the stretch goals that I've seen, and they're cool. So by the time we get done with all the stretch goals, and the stretch goals will be included with the price, if I'm not mistaken about that, right, Bill? Like you're fact checking me here, Bill.
What's that?
In terms of the stretch goals being included in the price. So 550
Yes,
is
the
going to
stretch
get
goals
you
will be in the price.
not the extras,
add-ons
not
will-
the
yeah,
add-ons
add-ons
like
are-
the wings and
Yep.
the flame
The
and the
fire
head.
head, the neck. Yeah.
But the stretch goals
Head,
will be
neck, chest, and
included.
breast area.
Right, exactly. I think by the time we're done with this thing, it's going to be a bargain for the price. Honestly, I really think we're going to get everything unlocked. I'm very confident of that. And
Something you got to keep
gonna
in
be
mind
incredible.
is like
Yep.
HasLabs. I'm looking at the Ghost right now. That target was 8,000 units, right? Like
That's the other part of it right there.
the
Yeah.
HasLabs are massive numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are for things that big. Those are pretty big production runs.
Right.
So that's like another thing to consider when you're just
Yeah.
like contemplating
Yeah,
this thing.
I mean they do have
2,000
A property.
consider their property.
Yeah.
Star Wars. You know they've got a
right. Yeah, it's
bigger
obviously a
audience,
much
obviously, to pull
larger
from, but-
audience,
Yeah.
but like to have to go to production on this large item, they have to go to 8,000. This only has to go to 2,000. So
Right. To get made.
It's so hard to figure this fan base. You look at the Cabal, there's almost 7,000. You look at the Four Horsemen followers on Instagram, there's like 24,000. It's like
Mhm.
where that number exactly lies and what
And
you're actually pulling
what
from.
percentage
Plus
of that
beyond.
is
Yep.
going to be able to swing a,
Yeah.
500 plus dragon? Like there's a limit to the number of people for sure.
But-
it's just,
But I'm
big
curious
item.
how many, now that this is the word's going to spread, how many that's going to go beyond that, to the D&D crowd, to the dragon collectors, to the
Mhm.
fantasy art
Ooh,
collectors.
that
that
sounds nice.
they don't know a thing about Four Horsemen possibly yet, but they will. So
A dragon is such a universally interesting and just a thing that you could like no matter what you're into. You know what I mean? Like even within like Marvel Legends or something like that. I mean, they have Fing Fan Foom and stuff like that, but I think you just the beauty of it. I mean, it's a beautiful looking toy. It's insane, and it's gonna be
And
historical.
it's
We've talked about
fully
that
painted.
before.
Mhm.
Fully painted.
It's so big and fully painted. I could see statue collectors.
Mhm.
Like this is going to be the size of those big ass statues, right? Like I could see
Absolutely.
a statue collector
Mhm.
wanting this thing,
Yep.
and it just fitting right in with a collection of statues too.
I think of
We
it
have,
this way. I've always
Mhm.
wanted, like, if as a kid, what would you love? Oh, I love a pet dragon or a pet monkey.
Yeah.
Monkeys are trouble, but you get this
Yeah.
dragon, you
And
pay for
dragons
it
aren't.
once. You pay for it
They
once.
don't
You don't have to
fling
pay to
things.
feed it. You don't have to pay for, home insurance in case it burns down your house. You don't have to worry about it eating your
bills,
neighbor's
yeah.
cat or your cat.
Yep.
You pay
Mhm.
for it once, and then you have a pet dragon till the end. You just got to find a nice place
Just
for
make
it
sure
to
the
rest.
shelf is secure so it doesn't fall on your cat.
This is true,
Yeah.
but
We have
that is
a
one way to think of it.
a fairly new like gaming role playing kind of game establishment in a nearby town, and I stopped in there a couple months ago and just to check it out and asked them if they knew about Four Horsemen. They didn't, and I said, well, and I showed them the picture of the dragon. I said, you guys, this would be an awesome centerpiece for your store. Like this would bring in
Oh,
so many
yeah.
eyeballs up the street just to come and look at that.
Yeah. Can you
Mhm.
imagine that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake is calling it. He's calling it the 5,500 plus units are ordered. I got to tell you, man, I'm pretty confident that that's gonna happen as well. Like I think it's, I'm seeing. Initially I'm seeing. We've got a couple of pictures and people have seen it live, and I saw a bunch of people at ZoloCon this weekend seeing it live for the first time and just like amazed at the size, amazed at the detail. I took a closer look at the paint and stuff, just really like some close, and it's nuts, man. There's so much detail in this thing. I know Brad's working on some video. I think there's going to be some comparisons size wise. I know people are thinking it's
Kirby's been doing some great jobs with that.
It's. I was going to bring that up. Let me bring that up right now, actually, because I had that. I had that all queued up.
While you're looking, speaking of Blake, super quick $5 super chat with a big wow. This is quite the assembly of talented humans / artists. An amazing combo of the industry's experts. I appreciate you all.
Oh, thanks, Blake.
Appreciate you, Blake.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Kirby Smith always creating, always putting together. I'm surprised he didn't put together an app for this that you could like just dial up what you'd want to compare it to. But
Right.
I mean, I keep hearing the refrain is, where am I going to put this? You know what I mean? It's so huge. Don't have space for this. Okay. I'm looking at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recent, at least. I mean, not the ship, the
flag.
But yeah, fairly recent vehicles and things that came from and animals that came from Hasbro and other Super 7 and other companies. And look at it. I mean, it's big. I mean, it's big compared to your figures. It's going to be massive compared to them. But like, if you've got room for the Castle Grayskull,
The Cat's
Sherry, you
Lair
worked on?
is absurd.
Yeah.
The Cat's Lair is insane.
Cat's Lair's nuts. I mean, it's huge. It's nuts. What was the price on the Cat's Lair? I don't even remember. What was that?
I want to say like
No
5.
idea.
I thought it was $500. Yeah. And I think about that, and I think about like just again like movement wise, like what moves on that thing, and what does what. And I still think, in fact, somebody brought up Tiamat from Super 7, and I'm not picking on Super 7. Like I thought Tiamat was pretty cool, but it's kind of a vinyl figure with maybe 10 points of articulation on it. Yeah, it's more of a display piece than anything else. It just doesn't have a lot of movement to it. That was $300, something like that. So I mean, yeah, I think this, and it's half the size, or at least maybe even a third. Of the size.
Jordan says the Cat's Lair was $650.
$650.
Okay. There you go, $650. All right.
And
I
like
didn't hear a lot of
before,
consternation about the Cat's Lair. I don't know.
Like I said before, this dragon has more paint than any of these other things.
Yeah, you look
Like,
at Galactus,
yeah.
right?
More details, more sculpture.
Cat's Lair. Yep.
I mean, the amount of paint that goes on one arm
Mhm.
is more than a single figure
Right.
on some of
Yep.
these things. It's insane.
Yeah.
Trevor, I sent you 2 pictures of a scale
Okay.
reference in
Okay.
Facebook Messenger if you want to toss
Alright.
those up.
Yep.
I saw something at a booth across the way from us over the weekend, and as I had this thing out of the case for a while, and I ran over to the
Oh,
guy. I'm
cool.
like, "You mind if I borrow that for a second?" So I was able to.
Oh, okay.
Do
I
one of
gotta
those.
download them first. I don't know why it's not just letting me drag and drop them. But
Yeah, I just thought about it, but it's something some of you may be familiar with as far as big green reptiles.
Your brother says you might just get a dog bed for it.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
And it's in front of it, like in front, like to the side. So, and take that under consideration.
And there's 2. There you go. So I mean, it's big. It's big enough. Like, you know what I mean? It's big
Yeah.
enough to be an
It's-
imposing dragon, but it's not going to be. I mean, again, going back to Kirby's comparisons, it's not even as big as a lot of these like massive things that people are like easily taking. Yes, stretched out. I mean, here it is with next to the Brontosaurus from Jurassic Park. It's longer than that if you've got it fully stretched out, but that tail curls, you know, the neck turns. There's also all sorts of ways to get it onto your shelf. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
My biggest concern would be how tall your shelves are and how low your ceiling is, because those wings
Right.
can kind of get up there high.
Height,
So-
yes, yep,
Yeah.
yep, mm-hmm. Yep. Height
How
is a
does that
factor. But
flame
again, look
affect,
at this. I mean, you know, it's really not crazy.
Like everything that we've shown so far is the printed prototype, which tends to be about 4% larger.
Mhm.
So we won't really truly be able to give people like the solid numbers until we have a production sample in. That's not the Butter
Right.
Dragon. Once everything's worked out, we're a little ways away from that. But once that happens, we're gonna update everybody and get
There you
some
go.
solid numbers out there.
And if you wanted to, if you were at Legion's Con or if you were at ZoloCon this weekend and you want a little bit more of an easier way maybe to tell about the scale of this, there you go.
5'3" compared to
also courtesy of Kirby Smith.
hilarious.
We love you, buddy. We love you, G.
Is it true, Joe, that you're growing your beard out to rival the flame effect length? Is that
Oh,
the
we'll
goal
see.
there?
We'll see. I still expect to wake up in the middle of the night till my wife over me with
Oh no.
one of those.
I can see that.
Don't bob at the beard.
Also, there is I can share this. This is the Darla Ackerman comparison. There you go.
She's
Darla.
like, how
Darla's
can
is-
how big of a cape do I have to make for this
I,
thing?
that's what she's doing.
Going
She's
through mine right
measuring
there.
right there. She's measuring. Yeah.
Yeah, she does
Love
great work.
Darla. Love
Mhm.
She
Darla,
does.
and looks as good as the dragon does. All right, so yeah, that's the dragon. We'll know more this week. Friday it goes up for sale, and we got a month, baby. Got a month to get this thing going. Don't
One
hesitate
thing-
on it, man. Go ahead, Bill.
Another thing I think that has been happening too
Mhm.
is that people have been saving. Like, this isn't like just dropped on us. This has been known that it's coming since November. People have been like
Yeah, that's
getting
4 whole
ready
months.
and saving up for this thing. So I think there's going to be some numbers early and fast.
Yep. If you can't find a place for this masterpiece, then I question your dedication. Well, I mean, do it within your means. Don't be,
Yeah, of
don't be spending your rent or your electricity bill or anything like that. But it is almost summer, so I mean, if you don't have electricity for a couple months, you'll be all right.
Okay.
Just tell your loved ones that's what you want for Christmas. And
I mean,
make
the
peace
good
with
thing
that.
about not
on.
happening on Kickstarter is that you can use 4 Horsemen gift cards to purchase this. So if you've got a birthday coming up in the next 30 days, or hell, the next 90 days, just ask people for an early birthday present and get yourself some gift cards, and there you go. I think everybody's going to be very happy if these stretch goals are reached, because I
can't wait to see those.
You're gonna
I can't wait to see those.
The value of this thing, because as Bill was saying, like when HasLab has like an 8,000 minimum for something, it's that volume of stuff that's making the price what it is, and even then, people are like, "Oh, it's very expensive." It is expensive. The tooling is so expensive. It's so expensive. So yeah, we get this thing up. I think you're going to see the value. You're going to feel good about getting it and getting everything else that you're getting with it. So it's we'll see. We're gonna know more about that this week.
And I think because the price of eggs being what they are now, Eric Miller selling his eggs is able to get 2. Is that correct, Eric?
That's true.
Yeah, I'm all over it, man. I don't have to
and
worry
those
about it at
emu
all.
eggs go for buku bucks.
Yeah,
I still got a couple years for those.
Might even get 3 now. 3 dragons. Those egg prices.
Based on egg inflation, this thing's a bargain. It's like
That's right.
It's like 3 dozen eggs.
It's eggflation.
Aw.
Maybe there'll be a dragon egg. Maybe that'll be a stretch goal.
Oh,
yeah. Dragon eggs are good. Good. There you go. All right. So the only thing we have, and then we're going to get into the talk, is ZoloCon was this weekend. A bunch of you lovely people were there.
Yep.
Or at least a couple of you were. And
I need to dispel the rumor that I was there. I was not there. I don't know how that started. Maybe it's because Nate Armstrong was there. It's close enough.
It's because I was.
Oh,
I mean, a surprise. Yeah.
That old joke. That's still
Look,
around.
he's wearing
Okay.
contacts today. That's
I
nice.
I know. That's what I said too. Whatever.
Whatever.
But this bad boy right here dropped. Surprise little drop. Legendary Barbarian. So
Sweet.
you've seen the pictures. People have been putting them up. I think Schmerb was up, one of the first ones in line, or actually, maybe that was, who was first in line? Maybe it was Dub. It might have been Dub.
Dub
was
has a
first in
great
line.
shot up
Yes,
online.
He took a picture, so people saw it at ZoloCon, which ZoloCon was great. ZoloCon was new venue, not as interesting, but a lot easier, and you could see things, which was nice.
Yeah, the
it's nice to see
light
what
was
you're buying.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nice to see what you're buying for sure. It was cool. It was a good show. You guys had fun?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
it was fun.
Great turnout. Lots of familiar
Mhm.
faces that we like to see. Lots of
you
great
pick up anything?
vendors. No,
Sure.
a handful of things. Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, do you collect? This is something I don't know about you. Do you collect anything else? Do you collect toys?
Well, right now I have a lot of our toys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're up there in my room
Mhm.
here. I'm at the office.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
And
But
yeah. So I have a few things here and there. I haven't really collected one specific thing. I'm trying to find my thing. That for a while I like the tin toys,
yeah.
robots, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me, I think
I love that stuff.
I definitely, the female figures mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I have a goal at some point to make sure that I have all of the ones that we've done. I haven't quite gotten around to doing that yet, but that's pretty important to me. And then I do actually collect. I have a small collection of hand carved, I could think they're very old ladies, like grandmas.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Really?
with they've got they're hand painted.
Wow.
And they're pretty strange looking. Some of them, one of them's holding a sickle, which is really interesting. Some of them are
So-
sitting there, but they have these little weird looks on their faces, like, I don't know, they're
Do you
they're
have one there
grandmas,
to show us or no?
Yeah. Do you have one?
I have them at my place.
Okay.
Okay.
I can definitely.
Post some.
Is there a name for that? Is it
I
are
don't
they
know what-
called something
I'm
as a
not
collection?
really sure.
Or?
I mean, I know
Okay.
that, there's a whole wood carving community, and
So it's wood. Okay. Wow.
yeah, wood, and then hand painted, and pretty old. And from time to time, I'll see them, and antique stores or consignment stores, and I'll just grab them. I used to have the men too, but I dropped them off at a consignment store. I just like the grandmas. So yeah.
You ever put a fresh coat of Sherry's touch paint on there, or you just like to leave them as they are?
No, I leave them. Yeah, I leave them the way they are.
Do you ever buy any toys that you say, "Oh, I could do a better job," and paint over it?
No, I don't say I could do a better. I just, I haven't repainted anything. Sometimes I'll buy the paint because it's something painted, it's primitive, and that's intriguing to me because I'm so far into detail and tight work now that like just naive, quick, I don't know what the word would be, rough looking.
Yeah, primitive. Like I think that's what you're talking about with these
that I haven't had for years, and
cool.
I'm intrigued by it. So yeah.
I think she's a fan of custom work. If I remember, you picked up a couple custom pieces over the weekend, right?
Yeah, I
you
do
did?
have, and then I'm planning on painting those too, and then Mythic Legions. I have a few pieces. So by November, yeah, I'll do some custom stuff for fun.
And the
so you're
psychedelic
customizing
safari.
Mythic Legions as well.
Pardon?
You're customizing some Mythic Legions figures as well, then.
I have things that people have kind of, handed over to me, and they're gray right now, and I will put paint to
Wow.
them. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I have time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Cameron. Hi, buddy.
Cameron,
Hi there.
you need
How
to
are you?
roll for initiative. Cameron?
Yes, I would like you to make a roll for initiative to see if you're up next. How did you? So, like, I know you're a miniature guy, but were the miniatures
Just very
first?
short.
Oh no, I wasn't going for that, buddy. But okay, yeah. You got me. D&D miniatures. You are a longtime painter of those, and did you get into those via the game, the RPGs, or did you get into the miniature? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is what I'm getting at there, Cameron.
Oh,
Like,
geez.
the miniatures or the game?
It was around the same time in 1979 going to
It's
the
okay. We're both. Yeah, we're both.
the model store around the corner from me where I used to get my Aurora model kits and stuff, and they had D&D and miniatures. So I probably bought the game first, but we're talking about a matter of weeks. So I started painting stuff then. So I mean, I've been painting nonstop since. I'm at home right now. This is my desk behind me with all my own paints and stuff on it, and the bookshelves you can see in back. Those are actually all role-playing games.
Wow.
So
Somebody I saw in the chat was asking what kind of rack you have there for your paints. They were admiring it.
I don't recall. It's 2 spinner racks that I have.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great, but I've had them for so many years. I got them at my local comic store, and I don't
Bring you
recall.
up, see that a little closer. Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
So yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. I'm currently in the process of rescuing and repainting some old eBay rescue Warhammer stuff from the 80s.
Oh, and there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, these vehicles from I think like 1987 and some.
I think I've heard you say, Cameron, too, that you still have some of your minis from back when you first started, too, don't you?
Yeah, I actually have some of the first minis I ever painted somewhere in a drawer around here, and I just got them back from a friend. I guess I had given them to him probably back in the 80s, and he gave me a bunch of the stuff back that he found in his attic. So,
wow, what was that like? Kind of memories that
Start
bring
going through
back?
those drawers. Let's see. Let's find these things.
yeah, no, they're here. I have them in a plastic bin. There's got to be 30, 40 different plastic bins of stuff in the room where I have it all broken down into, types of miniatures and things.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah, so that's been my hobby forever.
Did you jump into like when you got into D&D? Like my first experience with D&D, I didn't get to play as a kid. This is not a sad story, but like I just didn't have friends who were like
It is
into
sad.
it, or I felt like I could teach how to play it or whatever. But like I wanted to be a dungeon master, and like I wanted to I wanted to create all the the miniatures and like the maps and stuff like that. So when you started reading about it, did you immediately I want to control this thing? I want to be like a DM, or did you start out as a player?
I started as a player. I wasn't interested in being a GM for a lot of years, really. I like making characters and coming up with different, stories and stuff for the characters, but I wanted to play them first. And then somewhere, I guess in my late 20s, I was like, all right, I've done that. Now I want to run the game. So I've been still playing and stuff, but I'm much happier kind of behind the GM screen, running the game and facilitating things. And if you look at the little banner right there, it says mythiclegionsrpg.com. That's
we got a .com.
We got a .com.
Oh, awesome.
You can head there, and there's not much there. It's just a landing page right now, but you can sign up for the email list and get notified, because I'm working on that more than even I'm painting right now. So
I was gonna say this is a lot of work, man. Yeah. Like Cameron, we're there's a select few people who are gonna get to test this, and being in the the Mythic the Legion's Quest group, we're getting a kind of a sneak peek at it, and it is a lot of work, man. It is a lot of work, man. There's so much. I mean, Cameron was telling me about it early on, and just talking about all the stuff that he had to think about that we don't even know. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like how, like you were saying, how magic works. You go through it, because like I remember a few things that you're telling me, but like all the stuff that you got to think about for this game, like that we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Has to play into
I remember,
quick
there's a lot of
question
obvious,
for
but
Cameron.
you were. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nate. You go first. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna. It was a comment. I remember hearing you say stuff about people were asking. Eric maybe was asking, like, how does time work? Like, is there a moon? How many moons are there? Just like, of course you're gonna think about how does magic work, but stuff way outside the realm, as it were, like that you had to address. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've had some meetings with Eric Treadaway about a lot of this stuff, because he's got all this lore for Mythos in his head, and a lot of it's written down, a lot of it's in the packages, but yeah, there's stuff that hasn't been considered. Like, so is there a moon? How many moons are there? How long is a month? What does a calendar look like? Are there holidays? Are the seasons the same as ours? How do they mark time? All this kind of stuff that will probably come up at some point, in a role-playing game setting. And we've spent some time in fact discussing, all right, well, what is a typical town in Leosyr look like versus somewhere in
construction of buildings and things like that, right? Yeah.
Right. So aesthetically, what does it look like, in the White Spine Mountains, in maybe a whatever the settlement looks like for Ilithia's brood, versus where does Zylona's flock live, and what do their buildings or homes look like, et cetera. So a lot of stuff that has to be, if not nailed down, at least better defined, so that we can all literally go play there.
Right.
So yeah,
cross purposes, are you?
Blast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Cross purposes. Are you like doing any, like referencing anything from the game that's coming out, the turn-based game that the guys are working on, the video game tactics game?
No, that's pretty much a separate thing. I've made sure to leave that for them, and not to take any details that are theirs that aren't baked into Mythos and
but all that should be sort of meshed, is what I'm getting at, is like the castle of four sides should have a certain look to it, or something like that they've kind of like had to interpret visually. So like maybe that's incorporated into what happens in the game and things like that is what I'm getting at.
Right, being that it's all coming from Eric's
mind.
We're making sure it's a single, the working term is IP and intellectual property. So we want to make sure that it's all consistent, it's all part of the same thing, and we're not working at cross purposes or that we've got something that this is canon, it's established, this is how it is, and then the other side of the house is like, nope, we have something different. We're avoiding that and making sure that it's all, and
everything Jeremy's doing in the book and everything like that. Yeah, I picture like a room where Eric's just hooked up to like wires and stuff, and there's just and everybody's just like
milking him,
downloading.
Oh my God.
But what does the
Cameron, I had a question about your writing.
Sure.
Do you write a lot in general in everyday life, or was this like a massive like undertaking for you? Because this is a lot of pages of writing.
It's a lot of pages. I've probably the most writing I've done as far as volume was in grad school. Writing multiple like 5 to 25 page papers each week. So yeah, I turned out a lot of word count there. And for myself, when I run my own games and that kind of thing, I have a lot of pages of writing for, my campaigns and things. So this isn't that different for me. And also it's 5e compatible. The 2014 version of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition 5e, it was published under the Open Gaming License and with the OGL, and with the system reference document, the SRD. And that's the SRD is the literal verbiage for everything covered by that Open Gaming License. So we talked about doing a bespoke rule system just for this game, but decided that the 5e rules really do what we want them to do already. And I think they're going to deliver the game experience that our fans are going to want, because it's very much about making heroic characters, powerful characters, building them up, better weapons, more spells, that kind of thing. And it's a game that's really well designed to do that and deliver that experience. So I went over the SRD, the whole reference document, hundreds of pages, basically line by line, taking anything that is already works fine for us and keeping as it is, and taking stuff that needed to be tweaked or changed a little bit to better represent Mythos and Mythic Legions, and rewriting those parts. So I'm not inventing it from whole cloth. I'm adapting something that's out there that already works, and we know it works, to our purposes.
Right.
So.
Right.
And that's going to get a lot of people who are already into it and familiar with 5e feeling comfortable to roll right into this.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things we liked about it, is that it's such a beginner-friendly game, and it's also so well known that people are going to be familiar with it. This shouldn't be intimidating. If you want to continue your 5e campaign and move in some Mythic flavor, you can do that. It should be a good starting point for people who haven't played before, because it's just it is, as Joe says on our screen, it is easy for new people to learn. So
yeah.
But there will be some surprises. There will be some unique elements to it. So it's not just 5e. We're working hard to make sure that it's a good representation of Mythic Legions, and that that core activity of the game gives you a really good feeling of experiencing Mythos in a new and fresh way.
Cool. I can't wait to dive in.
Yep. Me too. Joe Basapola.
Yo.
What's up, man? Pop and Swap Master, you're always on with Jeremy doing the as soon as a new wave comes out and you've got the parts and stuff, you're dealing with the ridiculous prototypes that I have to deal with and actually popping them apart and making new things out of them, which I don't envy, man. Like it's nuts what you do on that show, man. It's crazy. Like I watch you guys and I'm like, I don't know how he's keeping that together, man. Like I had a problem with that falling apart.
I put a fair amount of prep work into it beforehand, It's all about it's all about prep time. Anything can be done in prep time.
You and I I believe we first met at GCon 2019, right? That was the Arathyr at the studio, right? I mean,
Yep, that's
online,
right.
yes, I'd known of you, but yeah, in person, GCon 2019, we both got invited to the tiny studio.
Yep, upstairs.
The pre-studio, and that was Arathyr. That was wild, man. That was a cool time. It was crazy to see that space and like see all they were doing within that space, like all the 3D printers and stuff crammed into a corner,
right,
in one room, and
those are tiny offices.
Very tiny offices, the little photo place.
A ridiculous amount of display toys in the offices, outside the office. Like you walk into the main area, and it was just like shelves of all the lines they had worked on, like DC and Motu and a couple other things. It was
not under glass like they are now, so covered in dust. They were like,
yeah.
Everything's nicely clean now. So was that your kind of like break-in? Like that was the moment, right? Like that was my kind of introduction to the guys and getting to talk to them and getting into that world. And you kind of started that way too. You're local to the area, and you kind of started working with them, like helping out in the studio and things like that. And how did you get to this point? Is what I'm getting.
I had seen them here and there at toy shows when they would have a table out every now and then. So I got to meet them through there. And in the earlier days when there weren't a ton of retailers and there weren't as many fans, they had some kind of in-stock sale up. There were a few birds. Otho was on there, Kador, Silverhorn Century. Like those were leftovers. And I made
you didn't get in right away, right? Like you missed it.
Oh, no.
Like I did, right? Yeah.
My first Legion came off of eBay. Because I got one of the Seventh Kingdom. I think it was Ramathor. I got a Ramathor, and that thing kind of fell apart on me. So I'm like, the sculpt is great, the paint is fantastic. This thing's wonderful, and it fell apart out of the package, and I was like, oh, okay. So I held off on stuff, but once I ended up getting, I think a Gorgo Aetherblade, that was my first one, and it was like just a whole other level, and it was tight. Everything stayed together, and I was like, oh, I'm in love. I've been waiting for this for a long time. But I got to see the guys at the shows and pick up from them, and we got to know each other. But I made an order from them, and I noticed that they were just like 20 minutes, not like 10 minutes away from where I was working at the time. I said, hey, would it be all right if I came by to pick up the order? And they said, yeah, sure. So I made an arrangement. I go to the door, and Eric Treadaway answers. I expected us to be like, oh, you're Joe? Okay, here's your box. Thanks for your business. Have a good one.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and no, it turned into a 20-minute like tour of, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Eric. I'm working on some stuff. You want to come see what's going on back here?
That's so great.
It's so out of
And
character,
time,
man. That's why.
Yeah, I know. It's not like him at all.
I think at the time he was sculpting up some of the larger versions of, I think, Outer Spacemen or Power Lords. No, I think it was Power Lords.
Power Lords.
But yeah, it was the bigger ones. So he had them on his desk, and I don't even know if they might have been printed at that time, but just like walking in there and just like every 2 steps I needed to stop and just take it all in. and it was crazy. And he was just like absolutely welcoming. We just talked about all the stuff that they were working on. I got to see some things that no one knew even existed yet, which was neat. And I walked out of there with like the shivers. Like I was buzzing for like the next 3 hours, and it was just like, wow, there's that place is magic. Because right next door they had that prop shop where they do all the stuff that at the time I was doing as a career with like entertainment production.
That's right. You were in the theater, right? You were doing like theater production,
stagehand, like live event, like concerts, festivals, that sort of thing. Like lighting, sound, staging, video, all that sort of stuff. And just right next door is a place that they would build sets and props. And I'm like, I'm doing that now, but somewhere else.
But you'd also been doing customs and stuff, right? Like one of your Nightwing was your first custom, right? Like out of
like those, and I even like drew up on some Lego minifigures, and I took Sharpies and permanent markers to like little quarter machine wrestlers. So I was customizing for a while, but I was doing better stuff by then. Yeah,
cool.
But, it was great.
That's awesome.
So then you just started doing some stuff for them, and
when the Exodus sale when the Exodus sale happened, I asked if I could pick up my order. And they're like, sure. So I swung by, and at the time, Chris was doing all the shipping. There was barely anybody here. It was around COVID, and it was just him and Bill in the office most of the time. And Chris said something to the effect of, it's lucky you're so close by because I'm one person. I'm shipping everything out, so it might have taken you forever to get this, even though you're like 10 minutes away. And I'm like, well, if you need help, I'll come by and help just do some shipping if you want, just
There you go.
like, I don't care. I love being here. So
Yep.
if you want some help,
There
and
you
he's
go.
like, nah, I guess. So me and him worked together for a couple of
That
nights.
kids is called foot in the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I
Exactly.
essentially started here shipping.
Yep.
And was doing that for a while. All the original like in stock sales where they would pop up like every Friday and stuff would run out in like 15 minutes. Like that was mostly me and Chris doing the shipping for that, and Diego in the background making labels for it because he was doing another job, but he was helping us out at the time. So it was just the three of us doing all the shipping, and then
Yep.
every now and then a couple people from upstairs who just needed some extra work because entertainment was dead, but they wanted to keep them working, so they brought some people in from BB to
Oh,
help
yeah,
do some
yeah.
shipping with that sort of stuff. And that was a great time. One day Jim just came to me and he's like, I hear you paint. We could use some help. We're a little backed up in the studio. Do you want to pick up a brush? I got down on my knees and I said, yes, please, oh, please, yes, I would love it. Give me a shot. I'll do whatever it takes. And he's like, all right, like ease up, kid. I asked you. All you have to say was yes.
Yeah.
And
Kiss the man bun.
Yeah,
Oh God.
Jim doesn't need that much buttering up. He's just like, yeah, okay, we're good. Yeah.
Well, apparently I didn't suck enough for them to say you can't do that anymore. So here we are.
Perfect. That's
Yeah,
all you have
here
to
we
do.
are,
You just
man.
Not
You're
suck.
Yeah.
among the
Like
deep
the studio,
thinkers.
you tried not to suck, and you succeeded in not sucking. So there you go.
And now this
Eric-
Not
is
as good
a
as
job.
these two, though. Three,
Yeah,
I should
exactly.
say.
Eric, the new guy. So,
Not as new as we
right.
think, though. He's been doing a lot of stuff.
Well,
we're
I know,
finding
like
out. Yeah.
stealthily, right behind the scenes. He's been doing
Yeah,
stuff
he's
for a while.
Sly dog, you.
I think you talked about this before. Well, what was the first thing you did for these guys? What was it? What was the first piece? I guess.
I don't know. I still don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's
Yeah,
something that has.
so-
Okay, yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
They
all right,
started
yeah, I
me
forgot
off
about
with
that.
a few pieces that were not like in-house, and I never
Right.
I never once was like, let me work on Mythic Legions, like
Yeah, of course.
I just kind of let them know, like, just whatever you want me to work on, just
Right.
give me something,
Well,
So
can you tell us
and
when that was?
I think I initially had conversations like August of last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Could be seeing something soon. You never know.
for sure. They've been keeping me busy outside my my day job for sure.
I mean, there's
Thank
so
you.
much going on, man. I don't know how
I'll
you
take
got.
it
I
all.
don't know. I don't know how you do with only 4 people, man. It's so crazy, man. There's so much stuff going on, which is
And Bill.
fantastic. It's great to have seen it. And Bill,
There's
Yes.
always a lot going on, and the studio has grown so much in the 5 years I've been here.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is, say, oh, it's always more
you've
of
been
us.
here 5 years, Cameron?
Yeah, almost exactly, like just over 5 years, because I started literally weeks before the pandemic.
Okay.
But yeah, the studio's grown so much, and we have so many people there, all the time, and so much going on is really collaborative. There's so many
Mhm.
people working on so many things. Like,
Yeah.
It's funny. It's all relative, though. When you say so many people, it's still a small company. What is it? 15, 19 people, something like that?
yeah, somewhere in there about.
But compared to when you first started, yeah, it's grown a ton. But
Yeah, I think
about
when I first started, it was Eric, Cornboy, Jim, Sherry, Bill, Chris, and me. I think that was it.
Mhm.
And then it just started,
7 people.
really
More than
grow
doubled.
from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you and I
cranking out the
were about
work.
the same time, I think. Yeah, I think you were you at the Aerothere G-Con or no? Or was that after?
No, I think after.
After that? Okay, yeah. So you were just before me. So Eric, so we know you're a customizer, but how did you? So where did you start? Like, where did this all start? Were you customizing other things before this, or what? Was this the entry? Mythic Legions the entry into this stuff, or what? How did this get started for you?
I dabbled in customizing before that, like Mythic Legions and everything.
Okay.
But Mythic Legions was really when I started taking it seriously, and like, just the affirmation you get from this community is really cool, and it kind of like made me feel like I was good at something, and I was like, maybe I could like actually do this, so I just kind of kept at it, and I mean, it's really all I've done for the last, like, since maybe like 2018. All I've done is paint. That's what I do.
Wow. And before that, like, was there what's your art background? I mean, like,
I was one of those kids that was always drawing.
Okay.
Always. From like the age that I could hold a pencil, and I had like, I went to a really small school. Like, my school was like kindergarten through 12th grade. It was like one building because there were so few of us. And I had the same art teacher the whole time. And by the time I was in high school, she was like, I don't want you doing this stuff anymore. Like, you need to be doing different things because I can tell you're bored, and like, that kind of thing. So she kind of had made me my own curriculum like through high school, and she was really pushing me to try new things the whole time. And then I went to art school a little bit in college, and unfortunately I didn't finish. But yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been into
artists.
it.
It's tough in college, man, for artists, man. It's just
for sure.
I know. I've been there. You just want to do. You don't want to sit there and listen and learn.
Yeah. Well, and I took the classes that were like art, but all the other ones, like, I was like, I don't care about any of this. Like, what am I doing here? Yeah.
What kind of aspirations did you have as an artist back then? Like, where did you think your career was going to take you as an artist?
I got very sidetracked by music when I was a teenager. So I was in bands from when I was like 15 to really until my kids were born. So around like 25, 26. So there was a good decade there where I focused on music more than anything. And then after my kids were born, I wasn't able to play out anymore and do stuff like that. So I haven't done that.
We really got to put together Mythic.
We really do.
We
really do. Like, there's a lot of people that have like parallel lives here. Like, it's crazy.
Cameron plays bass. Our Dan is a drummer.
Speaking of eggs,
you play bass?
What about Corn Boy?
Yeah,
He's got a great voice.
I do play bass. I'm absolutely terrible.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
That's
just play
fit right in, probably. No.
just smack it.
That's what I did.
Cloud's a drummer. There you go. We got a lot of people. I think we just need to get like a set and just like have like open mic night or something like
Definitely.
that. Yeah,
definitely.
that would be so much fun.
That's cool.
Chris will do karaoke. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I just talked this.
I sing. Corn Boy sings. Well, yeah, it'll be great.
Eric, I assume your specialty in those 10 years was guitar and mouth harp. I don't know.
Nailed it. I don't know how you knew, but man, that's crazy.
Guitar.
Awesome.
I'll tell you, I got to pick up that stupid G.I. Joe set just for that guitar.
Just for the guitar?
Like, I have to have that guitar. I don't even know what that is, but I have to have the guitar. So like you're working on some stuff now. What do you hope to work on? Like, what do you want to like? What's like a goal? Like, is there something you haven't worked on yet that you want to work on? Like, can you say? I know there's a lot of stuff we can't talk about here. It's a lot of
for sure.
Like, careful.
I know Jeremy likes to say that all the painters have their own strengths, and they're definitely, they like to give projects to each painter that they're passionate about because they know it will produce results. And like I would say that rings true with the stuff they've given me too, which is really cool. I'm always just chomping on the bit to work on.
Well, you're a cosmic dude. We know that. Like, you're
and you know you can see that the stuff that everyone has seen that I've worked on in-house has all been cosmic. There's definitely been other stuff too that we'll get to at some point, but it's the stuff I've gotten to work on has just been a dream come true for me. And like, awesome. I mean, like as far as aspirations go, like I just want to do more. I want to be more involved. I'd love to find a way to be more involved with the studio, like outside of painting too, like, whatever that means. I can't necessarily move to New Jersey, but I can do a lot of other cool stuff, I think.
There's lots of room. You could find a farm somewhere for the emos.
Look at Nate Barch, man. He's about as far as you can get.
Oh, Nate's amazing.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Speak of the rock star, there he is.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, boy.
Yay.
Great to see you coming out this weekend, CB.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I saw he said he's going to be at Toylanta too, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
He's looking good, man. He's looking really good, really healthy, man. He looks hale and hearty, whatever that means.
It's exciting.
He looks good.
I was going to say, Eric, you said you started in 2019, right? And you're slowly getting the affirmations that, hey, I might be pretty good at this. But just 2 years later, you blew everyone away at that first Legions Con that was at the bingo hall. Like, I mean, you had one of the most impressive displays there, man. So just in 2 short years. So
I didn't know what to expect from that trip, and I only knew a handful of people in the community, so I didn't really have any connections or anything, and I didn't think that anyone would want to buy anything, so I didn't bring anything to sell.
Really?
But yeah, I mean that show went so well. I had zero expectations, and it was, I mean, literally life-changing for me.
Well, not only was your work top notch, but your display, everything about it. Just, I mean, I remember circling that place a million times and stopping every single time to ogle your stuff.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So, Sherry.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting started, you were at McFarland at one point, right? And was that? I'm assuming that's where you met these guys, right? I mean,
no. Oh. They were way gone. They were long gone before I started at McFarland.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. They were infamous though, and really, you'd hear some whispering here and there about it, but we weren't really allowed to speak too much about them. So that was intriguing for me. I started at McFarland, I think 2001, 2002, something like that. And I didn't know, I had no clue how to paint toys. At all. Zero.
Really?
Zero. Yeah. I have,
you have a background in painting. You have a degree in art, right? Like you.
Yeah, I went to School of Visual Arts for a year, right out of high school. Then I worked in a different field for a while, and then had the opportunity to go back to school. And I chose Fordham, visual arts degree, liberal arts degree, and I did that in 3 years, and then I got out, and I just thought that I would be a fine artist painting in a studio, and
we all think that's what we all think.
Well, yeah, right. And I did learn a lot.
I thought I was going to do album covers and stuff like that.
Right. And I didn't have the discipline either. That's something that I really appreciate about what I do now. It's easy to sit there X amount of hours a week and do the work, whereas then focus. So and Eric, you were talking about school, and maybe it's a blessing in a way, because sometimes you can become kind of institutionalized in a way of thinking about painting. So there's pluses and minuses to going through the system that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked for Todd for a number of years, and the people who taught me how to paint were John Wardell. He's over at NECA. He's their paint supervisor. I think he's still the paint supervisor there. And Robert Mankowski. I want to say their names because I really didn't know anything. And in fact, when I was hired there, it was those two guys in the studio as the painters, and Sandy was our supervisor. And Robert and John both told me, I didn't realize they were kidding, that the person before me was fired for asking too many questions.
Jeez.
Wow. Wow. Did they tell you that like before you started asking questions? I'm hoping. Like,
I had to really watch and pay attention because I didn't know
Nice.
anything about Pantone numbers. I didn't know anything about paint chips. We used to have to make the paint chips, you know, when you mixed up the colors to send to the factory. Really, I had no clue how to airbrush. And I was on probation there for many, many months. And the way I was taught, one of the painters who had been there longer would do the photo master and complete that, and then I would get the paint master, and I'd have to copy their work. So that's how I had to learn how to do this.
Wow.
And that was a good adventure. And at the time everything was 2-up, so twice the size, and
twice the paint.
and then that right, it was quite large.
That's amazing, though. So those two guys obviously saw something in you for sort of walk into a place with a zero toy painting experience. One of the hottest toy shops at the time, and say, I want a job, and they give it to you. They obviously saw you had talent, and you know, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes. And they became good friends too. And then that studio grew. We had between, I would say, 3 and 9 painters at any time. Because, you know, we were doing a lot of different licensed properties, and then Todd stuff and movies and music. And anyway, so I saw a lot of people come and go through that studio. Really, really good people out there. And out there in the world. And actually Matthew Holt was a co-worker too. And I think before I did any work for the Horsemen, he may have helped Eric. And Eric used to do, I think, the majority of the paint work. And then Jim would help out too by priming and base coating.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
surprising.
there were, you know, it was a small studio. So after McFarlane, I was curious about the Horsemen, especially since we weren't really supposed to talk about them, and they had moved around the corner. And I reached out to them. I just wanted to see their studio and meet them. And at that point, I was kind of tired of, I don't know if the word is tired, discouraged, I guess. Wasn't sure if I wanted to continue on in the toy industry and painting prototypes and all of this. But I met them and saw their studio, and they asked me if I do, you know, a little bit of work for them. And then I did. I started that way. And then Eric ended up giving me all the paint work. And when I say all the paint work, I mean, Jim was still
priming
and base coating. Yeah, I'd mix up the colors, and so we got through a ton of work that way. And then for conventions and you know, bigger shows and stuff like that, other people would help out. Shane helped at the time. Can't think of any other. I'm not sure who else might have painted. I think.
Did Owen paint?
A few other people, huh?
Owen? O-Dog?
I was trying to remember. I mean, it's very possible that Owen did. Yeah, I don't remember specifically what, but yeah, everyone. That's the thing when you're working. That's how they know if you're going to stay or not, is if you're helpful in when, you know, times of need, right? So so
did Eric Treadaway ever do any of his own painting?
He painted pretty much, I think, everything.
Unless originally he started with it.
Pardon?
Yeah, originally he would do the sculpting and then paint the stuff and
at
all.
That's how I understand. Yeah. Yeah, and then maybe they had a few people here and there. I'm not really sure. You know, I just know when I came in, they started giving me work, and more work and more work. And then I was working in the kitchen. Well, I guess it was the lunchroom at the time. And yeah, so that was probably, I don't know, 2009-ish, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Oh,
that
I
make
think it was
sense? I think it
2009.
does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Billy has helped with a lot of the paintwork too. Yeah. So
Nice.
and yeah, we've grown. Then Cam came in, and then Joe, and yeah, I don't want to leave
So-
anyone out. I mean, there have been a lot of people painting.
Well, I already left
and-
Bill out, so you know I feel bad. But...
No. And then Eric, I'm really happy that you're on our team too. And
Yeah, man.
I know we had a little bit of a chat, and Eric actually reminded me that I kind of grabbed him and made sure that he saw your stuff. I'm not sure if that was the show that you're talking about that year, but yeah. So I've liked your work before I really knew who you were too. So
There you go.
and yeah,
Awesome.
I'm psyched to hear that you want to paint more things. You know.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you guys. You
Yeah.
guys have
Eric-
always been so positive and supportive it's been so amazing. Thank you so much.
I remember you coming in for intern for a day, and we were talking in the main office, and you were like, this is awesome. Yeah, I really want to do this as a career. Like, I really want to be involved with this. And I'm like, well, if they let me do it, looking at your stuff, like, you got a pretty good chance. Just keep at it. Just keep at it, man. Like, you'll do it if it's meant to be and you want it, you'll do it. And I'm really happy to see you here.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I-
we're super happy for you,
It's
Eric.
a big leap for sure. It's a big leap, right? And then you like that's kind of cliche, but that has always appeared for me. You know, I used to do a lot more freelance work too, and you know we've had some challenges here through the years too. You know, with work and lots of work, not enough work, whatever. But look at we just keep going. You know.
There you go.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm gonna take a quick break here. We're gonna do a giveaway. I got who painted this? Is this you, Joe?
Oh no,
don't know.
I don't think I painted anything from that wave. I
Cameron?
believe that was Sherry.
Yeah, I think
Sherry?
that was you, Sherry, right?
Possibly, I don't know.
It's all
Yeah,
Weird that there's
sure.
There's somebody to
So
come
much
across. I
stuff.
don't even remember. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead
I
and
remember
say it
it.
was Sherry, because I remember giving her samples of that kind of turquoise color to match,
Gotcha.
because it was
Plumage.
going to be like the Night Builder set.
Beautiful plumage. Beautiful plumage. Yeah, this plumage, man, it's so nice to have like the plastic version of this compared to the prototype.
God.
Oh my god. It just it's gonna break.
We
Okay,
would print
here's
it
a
in the
question.
Flex and
Here's a
it didn't have
question
all
for
the
the three
detail.
of you. Well, I wanted to ask Cameron this too. Have you ever broken anything? Is anything breaking on you while you're painting these things? Are you breaking anything?
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
yeah, yeah.
on,
The
bro.
printed
Got
stuff
to.
doesn't bounce as well as the
No,
molded thing.
does
No, I
not.
mean it's really brittle. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I may have
yeah.
broken
You
something
definitely make
earlier
sure you
today.
have a soft
Oh,
place
Eric,
around your
today.
camera.
Earlier
Oh, boy.
today. Okay. See, I
Yeah.
feel so bad
That's
now.
fresh.
I don't feel so bad.
No,
It was
no.
little. I
Uh,
fixed it. It's
No.
fine.
I
It's
had
good
so
now.
much I had so much anxiety, man, the first time. I think it was in the Cosmic one was the worst. Like something broke and I had to fix it. And I'm like, they're gonna know that this is broken. Like I glued it really well, but it's like it's not as soon as I send this back, if it even makes the trip. And I think that was when I had to send it out to California or something like that. I'm like, it's
No.
just not, it's gonna be broken by the time it gets there and they're gonna know. But yeah, I mean now it's just like it's a regular occurrence, but not as bad. That's good to know. I'm very happy to hear that because I've never asked any of you that before. So that's fun.
I broke this. This thing is
Jeez.
like 6 pieces all together, very large.
Mhm.
Some of them were very
Mhm.
brittle. And
Mhm.
Cameron was in the room for this, but I
Oh,
was
no.
piecing it all together and gluing it, and I was sanding down seams, and I was simply just doing one of these,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was grabbing one thing, and it just slipped out of my hands, and it just fell to the floor
Oh,
into some
in
really
slow motion.
stupid tiny pieces. And Bill and Cameron just kind of like they just kind of spun around their chairs, and they're like, "Well, put it back together.
Exactly.
That's all you can do. Just
Exactly.
fix it. Just fix it. That's it. I was like, oh my god, I'm done. I'm totally done for.
Stuff breaks all the time.
Okay,
all the
that was the
time.
question for you,
And it
Cameron.
never
All the time.
feels good to have something. It never feels
No.
good to have
No.
anything break. But what feels good is everyone's like, "All right, let's fix it." You know,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
like that. And there's
Just-
just fix it.
Only
Is there
Yeah.
stuff you're just
Part of the
starting
job.
over with? Like it's just like I can't. This is not fixable. I can't glue this. I've just got to start over again on print, reprint and start again.
There
Maybe
was
some
something. There was
small
something
parts.
that snapped or broke, and I said to George, "I'm like, the guys can just glue it up," because I'm remembering the molded and cast
Yeah.
days, or when they used to just be able to make a little something.
Yeah.
And George gave me this look, and I'm like, I guess those days are gone. So yeah, things have been reprinted.
Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
I mean, it's things have gone on, things have gotten finer and finer and
Oh,
more, like,
yeah.
all the little details, especially in this wave in Necronominus, when you look at it and just all the little fine details. Oh my god, man, it's getting crazy. It's getting
in the
crazy. Like
forehead.
this plumage, like when this is resin, this thing right here. Oh my god, it's a nightmare. And then one like feather in the middle of it breaks. So then you not only got to glue it on, you got to glue it into the other, in between two other resin
Break out the
feathers that are
tweezers.
going to
Without breaking those other ones.
without
as you're
breaking
doing
that. Yeah, it's Jenga, man.
The worst is like during the Necronominus wave, all those tiny little like bone spurs and fingers.
Oh yeah.
Painting them is not a problem.
Yeah,
Cleaning them
bones.
was a problem. Clipping
I
them
can't
right
even
off the
imagine
printer.
cleaning them.
Oh
You
my
guys
God.
are heroes.
Like
Yeah,
Necronominus's crown. Oh my god, man. Good
that we
Lord.
printed in Flex because we just couldn't clean it and make it work in the hard resin.
Yeah, but sometimes you lose detail when it's in the flex. You can't sand it down. Like really, you can only take a knife to it.
Yeah.
So you got to be extra gentle with it.
Okay.
Guys, is this true? It says I got accused of breaking the Genie prototype, but I was exonerated by video evidence.
Yeah, it's his own video evidence. He just edited it, though. That's we don't buy you. Get out of here, Is. Hashtag in the paint for
He might have been framed.
a Dalric. Sir Dalric, I will be sending this out to somebody. If you're international, I'll have to ask you to help me with shipping a little bit. I'll cover what shipping would be in the U.S. or whatever to a distant.
Bill, what was
Let me get
your
that
title of your review on this guy again? Something about the
Sleeper
surprise
hit?
or
The sleeper hit.
Yeah.
Sleeper
Yeah.
hit,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But for me, this was one of the ones that I was very high on from the get-go. But for a lot of people, I don't think it was on their radar. It's such a strong wave. It's hard to be like, have everything up there, you know?
Mhm.
But a lot of people said when they got it in hand, they were just absolutely just blown away by a Dalric.
I dare say he's the next Otho.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Seriously.
probably was
bold
under
statement
ordered.
here,
Yeah. I would imagine it was under ordered because of it just wasn't as hyped up as everything else.
He is great. He is
looks
really,
amazing.
really nice. And somebody was saying, I think maybe it was you guys, Eric, the enablers. We're just saying that the way that they matched the paint, I'm trying to find myself here. Where am I? There we go. To the cloth goods is
yeah.
really, really good. It's like spot on. And so this is kind of what I want to get at with you guys right now. Like in terms of like, I'm going to get down to like details here, like how this stuff happens. So
Yeah.
you got, yeah, exactly. Like you got a cloth piece. What comes first, chicken or egg here? Like, like, is it the paint? And then you send that to CJ and CJ matches it, or he finds some cloth and he sends it back. I know his stuff is usually some of the last stuff because you have to have bodies and things like that for him to fit. But let's start. You can answer that question, but how does this all come about? So Eric is obviously in his world, like sculpting these things, and then they're having meetings about which characters are going to show up. Are you guys privy to any of that, or is it kind of like, okay, we're doing a night, we're doing 6, skeleton figures, and we're doing, yada yada yada, and who wants to do what? I mean, in your meetings, or how does that all happen? How does that all get distributed? How does it all come
You
about?
guys have meetings?
Yeah, where are these meetings you speak
Sorry,
of?
Cameron.
So you're asking about the flow of work?
Yeah. Like, how does it happen? Like, let's. I mean, like, a new wave is coming out. Eric has worked on this thing. He's got everything. You know, they've picked out the parts that are going to be part of it. Things that have already been tooled. You may have some production parts that you can pick from. Obviously, you guys have got drawers and drawers full of that stuff to pick from. But we've got some new 3D parts. Sherry, there's a female figure. You're gonna get it. I think,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, it's been like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I like to do the portraits and stuff, but you know, I don't
Okay.
own them. We have the George. We have the studio supervisor now. We have
George is doing that.
I think they kind of know if there's a person that wants to paint something very strongly.
Okay.
And I will paint anything. And I'm not really sure, actually. I think the work just has to be distributed for the schedule and the deadlines.
So is it kind of just like George comes to you and says, "Hey, we've got this. Here's the assignment." And
yeah, I mean, I'll get trays of things that need to be painted, and I paint them. You know,
So they just come in.
That's from my point of view. I'm not sure with you guys.
Yeah,
You know,
Cameron, like,
does it kind of appear for you too, or I'm not sure.
Just a tray of stuff on your desk in the morning, or whatever?
No, usually I'll see, you know, a handful of designs first. Like, you'd think, like, with a wave coming out like Necronominus, it's like, oh, here's the wave, who's going to do it, but they're not all sculpted at once. So once one is sculpted and it's ready to go,
right,
it's like, okay, who's doing
Gotta
what,
get working on
what's
that,
in their schedule. And again, we know, like, if there's a female figure, Sherry, we know you like to paint those. So
I do. But
so we
yeah,
try to, you know, make sure that goes there. If there's something that someone thinks, oh man, Cam will really groove to this, or Joe is going to love it, or something like that, well, you know, they try to get it to the person who's going to do the best with it. And also sometimes it's like, all right, we got, you know, these two, and we got, you know, Sherry and Joe have time in their painting schedule. Who wants to do what? You know, do you have any preference? So it's really very collaborative, and also very
cool.
Considerate about who paints what. And you know, sometimes it's just, this needs to be painted. You got time in the schedule, you're doing it.
Right.
As often as possible, I've found that it's been really you know, giving people as much choice and as much collaboration as possible in the process.
Yeah, because you guys have got other things going on. Like, there's other jobs outside of Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions work, you know, that you guys are working on as well, right? So there's things crossing your path that aren't, like, you know, like that stuff. So it may just be a matter of, like, who's got a free hand, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, with
collaboration,
there's always something going on. I mean, compared to years ago, now there's so much more of our work is in-house. We've got there's the feats of strength to determine who gets to paint them. But most of our work now is in-house stuff. But that's Mythic, it's the regular waves, it's the special show releases like the Barbarian, it's Cosmic, it's Figure Obscura. You know, if we're doing a Power Comp thing or Legions Comp, you know, there's always so much going on that it's who's got time in the schedule, what does that look like? But again, as much as possible, George and Eric and people are really considerate about getting us stuff that they know
like
will like
preferences,
or stuff that they know, like, everybody on the paint team is capable of doing anything, but we've got preferences and we've got strengths, you know, and they'll keep that in mind. You know, this piece has a lot of freehand. Sherry, you're great at freehand. It has a lot of, I don't know, weathering. I like to do weathering effects, and, you know, a lot with shades and highlights and that kind of thing. So it's really a team.
Cool.
Yep.
So
they know you
and it has to be.
There's
you got to take the ego out of it too. I've had a lot of situations where I bounce around this place quite a bit, especially in the beginning when I was doing shipping, and then they asked me to help out. But there would be times where I would start a project and there's a show coming up. I need to get stuff ready for it, or there's parts that need to be cleaned, and this is now a priority. I would have to drop what I was doing and have to hand it off to Cameron or Sherry. And it's like it's not about any one person, it's about the project and getting it done. And there's a bit of that too, and it's just being mature about it and realizing, you know, the job is the priority, not necessarily the person. So it's a really terrific balance of giving preference and also getting it done no matter what.
Right. And Eric, you're oh, sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it's interesting working for the Horsemen because they actually give you credit for, you know, being part of the team, and
Yeah, it's
our
nice.
names show up and everything like that. But that's not how I was trained. I worked, you know, for Todd, and it would you really.
It's just Todd.
Well,
Todd does
no,
everything.
yeah, exactly, and that was great. You
Shoeless
know,
Todd.
I'm not knocking
Taking all the
that, but
credit.
what I'm saying is,
Sexy.
it like you really, it was wise not to get attached to anything with your ego at that time, because it could just be taken and switched, and someone else could this and that, and because they really just wanted that
just get the
studio.
product done. Yeah.
Well, no, it was more about, yeah, exactly, working for Todd, right? So it was a look, and that was a great way to learn and to be trained, because it was you were more interested in doing the work well and learning, rather than like, you know, like even for the sculptors there, I think.
An ego.
Yeah, so I came here, I didn't even know they were giving me credit for a long time, because I didn't even think that was a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't important to me, you know. And then I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then now we have a lot more painters and people here, and I'm just like, I'm appreciating the fact that there is work, and there's enough work, and I think that keeping that like mentality of appreciating the fact that there is enough work, like there is enough, rather than the stingy, like, oh, like the grabby thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that that's part of what has been so rewarded with the Horsemen, because they're always coming from that place of generosity.
Yeah.
You know, with the fans, with their employees, they always try to do the best that they can. They always try to take people on if they can. And yeah, so the generosity thing. So just trying to keep that as a discipline too.
For sure.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
just been something in the studio since I've been working for them. And so again, Eric, I'm going to say, if there is anything specific that you want to have your hand on, don't be afraid to say that, you know. So
yeah, so you're working remotely, so you're getting pieces coming through the mail. I know that feeling. I do that a lot of times myself. You're unwrapping things like, ooh, what did I get? Do you know what you're getting ahead of time, or have you discussed it on a Zoom meeting or something like that, and know like this is what you'll be working on for the next, or is it just like, we're sending you some stuff, we need it by next week, hurry?
it can be like that. Yep.
Yeah,
No, I know.
it can be all of those things for sure. George will usually send me an email and say like, that, you know, this is what we had in mind. Are you interested? You know, and I'm always interested. Like I've never.
You're like, let
I'm
me think
gonna
about
say
that
no.
for 1 second.
Yeah. So anymore, he's just like, hey, this is the next thing. I'm gonna put it in the mail tomorrow. You know, and that's pretty much it. Like the thing that I currently have on my desk, he just sent it to me, and then like we talked about it like after it was like already on its way a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just gotten to the point where he's like, okay, I'm just going to send this to Eric. And that's great. I think that's awesome. I'm not going to say no to anything. So he can just, he can assume all day and just send me whatever he wants.
There you go.
That's got to seem so surreal, right? I mean, just getting the email to start with, but the parts coming in and you're doing your thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's I can't put it into words. Like I'm still I can't put it into words. It's I'm
That's
still
cool.
so new to it that like I get caught up in it every time. It's crazy to me. I can't believe it.
That's right, Zelby.
So I've got a quick question for you guys. So I think from what I understand, so when Eric's done a sculpt, he passes on maybe a digital render of it to you guys, and it's got the paint or the colors that he envisions where he envisions them.
Mhm.
But that's not to say that you can't say, you know what, I kind of say, maybe you want to change this color up or this shade a little bit. And of course, Eric being the guy he is, he's always receptive and open to that. And how often does something like that happen? So for instance, Joe, with the red jet, you're like, how did that whole thing go down? Like, because that was your color. You picked that color, correct?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to like get an idea of what finish is on certain things. We get a printed out render, and then we can also see it on a screen. So we'll be able to look at it on a computer screen as well. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get an idea of like the finish. It took about 3 or 4 tries to nail that one down. Like the first 2 were just kind of like it's too bright or it's not glossy enough, that sort of thing. And the third one, he was like, "Yeah, that works." And I was like, "That you just said yes, but it was after saying no twice, and that sounded like a no." So I'm like, "I'm just gonna do one more, just one more." And I'm like, "I know you said yes to this one, but I just tried that. What do you think?" And he was like, yeah, that, yes." I would say and Bill brought this up today, we probably get about 70% there with the renders, and then
Okay.
whoever's painting it or putting it together gets it to that 100%. And there's a lot of back and forth where a part may switch out. It could be a pauldron, a loin piece, a weapon, where it's like, hey, I was thinking maybe this would look good with that, or maybe we change the shade of this color because it could go really well with something that came out 3 years ago. And here's what it'll look like once you take these parts. If you change this color and you put it together, it looks like that. And it's like, wow, that works. So little
it's not
things
only
like
the
that
paint,
happen to go a long way.
it's the pieces and parts too. That's
Oh,
interesting.
absolutely. Yeah, and it goes a
So
long way.
it pays obviously to be a student and obviously know the stuff inside and out to be able to have that foresight to think like that. Yeah, that's excellent.
Right. Yeah, and knowing what's coming helps, and knowing what's kind of like out there in the world, like if there's a particular character, there's a bunch of, like what would work well with that.
Yeah.
And kind of like helping to push that along, and it's really trying to improve and enrich the playing experience with the customers. And something that's been on the shelf for years, you could get a new figure in, maybe 1 or 2 parts, just makes you want to swap around with that thing that has looked the same, and now you turn it into something completely different. And it keeps you engaged with new stuff we're putting out, with old stuff that you've had in your fodder bin, and it's just trying to keep it fun and interesting all the time.
That's the magic of Legions. It's that ability to just like make your own creations right out of the box on any level. If you've never painted or never done anything, you can make a custom figure just from popping and swapping, all the way up to the full customs and stuff. Like that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and Eric's always looking at it from like the individual character. Always like, for him, the character design, that always comes first. But afterwards, I look at it from a standpoint of course it's going to be awesome as is, but what can you do with it afterwards? What's going to make somebody want to get to, and really do like something new with it, and that's where like all of us really get to help collaborate in that area. And of course, it's always going to be Eric, the one who says yes or no on stuff. So for as much input as it is, Eric's the last call on it.
And he's so polite. You mentioned you'll know.
That's hard to believe.
No. You'll know
the
if
best.
you show him something. There's like there's can be a hesitation, and he's so polite. He's so
the most polite nose I've ever gotten in my life.
If there's a little hesitation, I'm like, all right, got it.
Just from talking about to him like stuff, I can totally I can hear that in my head. Like
it's so you just know, all right, we're gonna take this a little
You're
deeper,
like, oh, okay,
a little different, little something.
And sometimes it's let's just do both.
Right.
Why this or that? Just do it all.
That's true.
That's great. That's amazing.
So, Joe, you had mentioned starting a project and having to hand it off, but for the most part, if you're given a figure, you do it top to bottom, right? Most of you guys?
I really try to. Most of the time, that's the case.
Yeah, that's the norm, is that only one of us will work on any given toy, but there have been plenty of times where like we're in a time crunch, right? Legion's Con is in 36 hours. We got to get this done. So you know, Joe will work on the armor parts, and I'll work on like the accessories, and Sherry will do the portrait or something like that.
Right.
And you know, but usually it's
Right.
you know,
Well,
here, just do the whole thing. And
that situation happened last week, where I've had something on my desk for weeks, and there's been a lot going on here, and I haven't really had a chance to like really sit down and paint without having to do something else. So I'm looking at it, and me and George were talking, is like maybe some of these parts need to go over here to Sherry to knock out, and Cameron's working on the game, but he'll be back in next week, and just kind of trying to spread it out, and everybody kind of stays on the same page with everything. We just kind of check on each other and see where we're at, and try to get everything to align, and so far it's worked out pretty well.
I literally just watched this like yesterday. I just looked it up just to see, like, you know, just to talk about some stuff in the past, and like, yeah, I saw this whole crash. Actually, I saw the one where Cornboy was standing behind Sharon, and you guys were like checking the video and stuff like that. Yeah. You were talking about like some dry brushing, and Cornboy had his ponytail and his glasses and stuff.
Oh my God, that was working
looking
around
like
the clock.
looking like Penn from Penn and Teller.
Yeah, yeah, that was a
little bit.
We're so tired. Yep.
Who did Gideon?
I think that
I did the new Gideon.
That's what I thought. That seems like a Cameron face.
At first, I thought you said the nude.
That was Cameron.
Gideon.
That was the one that I came up during G-Con, and I came up to the table during the reveal for that one with you.
So this is going to be a technical question, and we'll end with a fun one. But so you guys just, you have free reign. I know you've got all sorts of different paints that you use. It's not like a set of paints. Like you have to use these particular paints. These get to, and this may be an involved question, but these get to the factory as paint masters. Do you know what happens at that point? Are they scoping those to match the paint? Are they doing that by eye? How do they get what you, because I get stuff and it's beautiful, and then I'm like, wow, this looks incredible. How's this ever going to be this good? And it's, you know, there's a little bit of difference, but like they come pretty damn close, man. To hitting your paint
master.
Yeah. And how are they picking? Because you're not giving them chips. I mean, Sherry, you were talking earlier, like matching things to Pantone. There's none of that anymore. That's none of that.
That doesn't always work well either. You know,
right.
Even back then, that didn't. Yeah, right? It's better that they have the piece in hand. And sometimes if you do the paint chips and the piece in hand, I can recall like that being an issue. Like I can remember my paint supervisor back in the day was like telling them to look at the paint master.
Yeah.
That was, so you're getting into Chris's territory. Chris could tell you.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, he can. Yeah. That's I'm sure he.
I've seen videos of people who can, like, there's a TikTok video of a guy who could, like, you give him a color, and he literally has like, I don't know, like 10 or 12 paint jars, and he mixes the color up like in his little jar right there, and it matches perfectly by eye. It's nuts. So like, I'm thinking,
I do.
Yeah, no, I know that's what I'm saying. Like you do that, but then you've got to get somebody on the other end.
People who can play music by ear,
like, match what you've done. Like, it's incredible to me. Like when I get the finished product in hand, and it looks so much like what I photographed and what those look like. It's like it's mind blowing, man. It really is a mind blowing thing. Knowing that you guys don't like sit there and write down your formula for the particular paint, because you're adding a little bit of gray to the white, you're adding a little bit of yellow to the know, whatever it is to get those tones and stuff, and they just have to match that. It's pretty incredible.
You'll appreciate this, Trevor. There's a reason we don't bother to seal the figures, and it's because
are they scratching them away and looking at the?
Not that so much, but just sealing it can change the color, can change the
Right.
finish.
That's true. Yeah.
And I know that can be a pain because they're really delicate when they get to you and you're trying to, make your magic happen.
Yeah.
A little scratch
Yeah.
happens here and there. That's going to happen. We would
Moving
love to
any
seal
joint
them.
whatsoever,
Absolutely anything. Yeah.
trying to put a weapon in a hand
Right.
without scratching the paint on the weapon. Yeah, there's a lot of Photoshop work on post.
Yeah, and that's why we make two of everything. The one that you shoot is always the one that we try to get out there, even if it comes back to us and we got to do a little touch up here and there because stuff happens. But that's also why we make two, especially if something breaks. I'll just send the other version. It's supposed to be a carbon copy of it exactly. We just send the other version. The broken piece stays behind. And hopefully we don't need it for photography between the time the production model comes in, or we just end up fixing it. But that's another little thing that pops up every now and then.
So paint. I was trained up with cartoon color cell vinyl. That was the paint in the industry when I first started in this industry, and I think it was so matte, and the thought then was, it's better to photograph these things when they're painted in a matte way. And then some things we would gloss up like eyes and all of that. But then so cartoon color went I'll say retired. I don't know. They're gone. And so we kind of scrambled to find replacement paints. And I like the So Flat matte acrylics that Golden came out with because they cover pretty well, they're not so translucent. So opaque and flat is kind of what I learned how to paint everything in this industry, the prototypes. And then Cameron brought in, and Joe, I guess too, different brands of paints, and I'm enjoying them too. But it took me a while to kind of get off the oh, this is what I've used in the industry. Now I'm like, oh, cool, look at this.
Well, when you can color match paint with that, and you only need a handful of colors and stuff. But it does open
I started.
It does open your palette to have all those Citadel metallics and things like that, and all the Vallejo flesh tones and things like that. I guess it's
Folk Art has some pretty dang good ones too, like the adhesion for a Michaels. Like you can get that stuff at Walmart sometimes. Like the color. The adhesion, the finish is pretty good. So we're all over the place when it comes to brand. It doesn't, it's not necessarily, the paint, but it's how you use it.
There you go.
I started with a limited palette and had to learn how to mix up all those colors for the sports teams, et cetera, which was a really good way to learn too. I had that big Pantone book, and they just give me a color call out, and it could take forever to mix up that paint, but I'd have to match it because that's how it was. And it's not like that so much anymore here, because we're not really working with a ton of licensed products, but
that's true too, right?
It's a good way to learn by limiting.
So you're not matching
your palette.
corporate colors or things like that you have to
if you limit your palette, you're going to have to learn how to mix up the colors that you want, and if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, just go for it and buy the paint off the shelf. It's perfect too. So.
God, I still have books of Pantone chips that I'll never use.
And those things aren't cheap.
No, they are not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Brian Carr with a $5 bomb. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, really great to hear some of the behind-the-scenes production information. Thanks for what you all do in order to make Mythic figures so amazing.
Yeah, we're lucky to do something we love for a living.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, and Chris, Greg Schmerberberber had a great chat with Chris a couple weekends ago, I believe. And if you really want to get into that stuff, I thought it was fascinating. Even the painting that they were talking about that they do over at the factories, how he'd say, you might get a head and it'd be on one side, and your job is to paint Gideon's mustache. And it goes, and the next guy, when that's dry, flips it over and does the other half the mustache.
Yeah, and there's
fascinating.
what do you call them? Templates or masks that actually go over the face that you can just quickly paint and it just paints the mustache. It only shows through the template or whatever, and then it goes on to the next person. They have a different.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's so cool.
There's going to be a
amazes
video
me.
at some point that'll have some of that behind the scenes, and probably Chris or George will narrate over it. It's
Well,
all in the
thankfully,
works.
Brad's there now to do that kind of stuff.
yeah.
'Cause I know they've
Right,
had that
yeah.
footage for a while since they
Yeah.
went over there, and we've all been waiting for it. So we can't wait to see it.
I'm looking
All right,
forward
we
to
got
seeing it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
We got 75 entries in the paint. This is for Sir Adalric right here. Speaking of paint, just beautiful colors on this guy. It's a great figure, man. This was maybe my, I don't know. It was down on the list for me. Maybe not, but like it's come up a lot, man. It's a great figure. It's really nice. All right, we're gonna draw this in 3, 2, 1. Good luck. Again, if you're in the US, free shipping. If you're in Europe, hey, Brendan. I just saw this dude yesterday.
That's
Damn,
right.
could have handed
Congrats,
it off,
buddy.
to you. Congrats, Brendan. All right,
That's
man.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, I know how to hit you up. You hit me up in DMs, and we'll get this out to you.
So when it comes to those soft goods,
Mhm.
we often have to paint the figure before they come in.
Oh, that's right.
The
Yep.
soft
Yeah.
goods come in. Yeah, I know, because
The soft
sometimes we're
goods,
waiting for
right.
the soft goods to get to me. Yeah.
Sometimes that's the last thing, and
Mhm.
there's been occasions where it's like maybe it's a little too off, and we need to adjust on our end paint
Shift
wise,
paint.
and
Okay.
other times it's like, hey, that works fine,
Right.
or it's a little different, but it works, and let it roll.
Yep.
But with that one, we got really lucky.
Oh, really?
Cool.
That just was a kind of a coincidence, or at least you gave him like a color or something like that, and he managed to match it. Or nice.
Yeah, I think
Incredible.
all that just lined up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And with whites, like
Yeah,
white can
it's
be
white,
difficult
too.
color too.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
either
you're
too
right.
bright or too yellow.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
So for him, it
Mm-hmm.
really worked out great.
Cool, warm. We all know about cool and warm white light.
As far as I know, we can give them a color, but it's really dependent on what
What's available?
cloth
Fabrics
supplies.
exist.
Material
Yeah.
available,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Right.
in what style,
Right.
right? Like you've
Right.
got to have the right type of material, regardless of color.
Yeah.
And can you get that material in that color?
Yeah.
That's what
Paint, you
amazes
can
me
make
a
whatever
lot.
you want, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're limited
Right.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It does
And
amaze
then
me.
the
I mean,
factory needs to be able to get it.
that's the other
Oh,
thing
that's
too.
true,
Yeah,
too. Yep.
you've got to
Hmm.
fully source that material, and it's got to be
Mhm.
available everywhere. And in the custom 1/6 world, I've been on that end of things. Like somebody's found a great fabric, but like they can't get it in China, in bulk price. So like you just can't use it. It's just not gonna happen.
Sometimes we're lucky, and we have like 6 boxes in our parts area that are
Mhm.
all fabrics that we actually got from China, like almost
Okay.
as like
Oh.
That's a smart way
recommendations.
to
So
do
it's
it.
like here's
Yeah.
what we have as
Mhm.
far as textures and finishes and stitching
Mhm.
and all that. So like here's
So you can
the
give TJ like an
guideline.
example of like what you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes that's happened, and other times, I mean, see just some teams able to knock that out first try
Mhm.
and with what they have over there.
I hope in listening to this, and I know you guys have been on various other shows here and there, but like the people understand like the time it takes to go into this stuff, man. It's a lot of work to get a figure out, man. It's pretty amazing that we get the quality of the stuff that we do from Four Horsemen in the time that we get it, even if it takes a little longer than we expect. But
always worth it.
it's also growth. You know what I mean? There's more and more stuff coming out faster and faster, as we all know. But it's still incredible, and these guys do an amazing job of getting this all done on time. I know, because like I'm often like come on guys, and like I know you're working hard. And and you're
Yeah,
on the big
unfortunately,
as well.
you end up at the end of that list, and I really
Yeah.
feel for you
That's okay.
sometimes, and
That's all right.
you do awesome work with the time you have and the situation.
No, I'm not
every
trying to bring it
time.
around to be. Yeah, but that's cool. Like
I'm
I just know
grateful
that there's so much
too.
work.
I'm grateful for you too, because you're at the end of it now. It wasn't always like that. I can remember finishing something up and they would just snap it with their little, their cell phones and like,
Mhm.
so,
You're like,
yeah. So being at the end of the line it can be a pressure cooker. So thank you for that.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
and
No.
thank you.
Yeah, sorry and thank you.
hear that a lot.
So Eric, I foresee a long and illustrious career with Four Horsemen and beyond.
Yeah.
But I want to ask all you guys, what if not the favorite, but a favorite or a standout that you've painted that comes to mind that you're really fond of, including you, Eric?
He may not be able to say.
Mine's pretty easy.
That we know of. Yeah.
Everything that I've gotten to do is absolutely incredible. I feel so lucky that I'm able to work on this stuff. It's so cool. But the thing that I'm working on right now is by far my favorite thing that I've done.
Oh, tease.
That's a great answer.
That's awesome.
That's a great answer.
Exciting. Well, how about we'll go with the head packs? Which was there a favorite you can choose from that?
My favorite would probably be the one that's like the most rewarding, like because I had to match those colors, so there was that aspect to it, and some of them were more daunting than others. So like, my favorite like character wise is probably the Ninian head that matches Olek, but my favorite like holy crap, I can't believe that I made it work is the Greyborn head.
Yeah. I was gonna say
there's a lot going on there.
Nailed that, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, if you really look at that head, there's a lot of subtlety in it that like I didn't notice until it came time to copy it, and then I was like, oh, there's a lot going on here. So, yeah.
It's awesome. Sherry, anything come to mind for you?
I'm just gonna stick with my pat answer, the moose. No.
Really?
I don't know. No, I mean,
that's a good answer.
Now I can say the dragon for sure. When I was in it,
of course.
I was like, oh, but no, the moose is really special to me. I mean, a moose with a saddle. Come on. And all the women, the female figures. I don't know. Yeah,
it's hard.
I know you like Azza. You're an Azza fan.
Yeah,
too.
I did. Yes.
Those little swirls and stuff and tattoos and stuff have got to be kind of fun to be able to do, like all that freehand face tattoos and stuff like that. It's got to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's yes. I love painting. That's what I do. I paint.
Yep.
People ask me if you do this. I'm like, nope, I paint. Do you come up with this? Nope, I paint. I paint. Yeah. So
Cameron, how about you? What's your favorite? Have a favorite?
I have a couple of favorites, but probably the Monkey King.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Both Headless Horsemen and from the Mythic stuff, I really like Poxus. There's something about on each of those figures, not necessarily the application, but coming up with a palette that really work together, that really pop. So those are really fun to do.
Yeah,
awesome.
Cool.
Excellent. Love it.
Giuseppe?
Joe?
I think my favorite isn't out yet.
Oh, that's a good answer.
No, seriously, and I can say that because I've had a lot of favorites. I haven't painted a lot of things here, but I keep getting new favorites the more that I do. So I don't know if I've quite done my favorite yet. The one that people have seen is the Red Jet, because there was a lot of steps there where I didn't feel like I was doing it. Honestly, I didn't feel like I was doing a good enough job, and I'm like, I'm not cutting it here. And I had to keep pushing and trying, and eventually got it right. And even though that metallic red is good, I was really happy about the soft goods, because that was the kind of an accident. I just grabbed black fabric pieces. And I was rushing because I was running behind, quite honestly. And I'm like, I'm not going to prime this. It's black. It'll take the paint really well. And I just started to go over it with red. It was supposed to be a solid red, but I'm looking after a while, and I'm like, wait, I really like how, like, over the black it's picking up. Like, it looks like a material that, like, we wouldn't wear. It looks even more alien next to, like, this nice solid, like, metallic red. The contrast of, like, how different it was. So it was like a composure of, like, mistakes that kind of lined up. And I was also able to paint that head too. And normally I look at that and that's very intimidating. That's the kind of thing where I'd be like, maybe Sherry or Cameron can get to this head, because I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was able to do that as well. And, like,
awesome.
I was like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
That's so
sweet.
cool.
That's cool.
But I was really proud of that red because I used a technique that my dad had shown me because he had made model cars, and he would get like
That's
right.
awesome.
yeah, he needed to make plastic look like die cast.
Metal,
And
yeah.
that I did what I did to get that red
There
was
you
a
go.
technique that he showed me when I was really little. So I felt like in
Oh,
another
that's
way
so
it meant a
cool.
lot to me because it's like dad got me through that when
That's
I
cool.
felt like I'm doing it this way and that way, and it's like I feel like boss just said yes just because it's got to get done. So he's just like, all right, just it needs to get done, so just do it. And then I figured something else out, and it just felt so dang good to be able to get that done. So for now,
Awesome. Yeah,
Red
man.
Jet, but I'll
Okay.
say what my next favorite is, and then my next favorite, and my next
When it
favorite.
comes out.
Well, I gotta. So when you're saying it isn't out yet, I'm guess Sir Andrew, that was you, right?
Yeah,
But you're talking about something we don't even know about.
Some we don't know.
that's right.
Okay. Wow.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Bill, did you have anything else you want to throw out there?
There was one that connected to another question that somebody had
Mhm.
posted in the chat, but if you could think of a figure that you didn't paint that you love, like a mythic or a cosmic or a figure that you remembered that you did not paint it, but you just love the paint work on it.
Mm.
Can you guys think of one?
There's so many. That's
Yeah,
tough.
there's so many. And I don't even, I mean, I don't walk around and see what everyone else is doing, but when I do have, I go into the other paint room, I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Just to see what people are working on, to see things revealed. I'm like, oh man, you guys, yeah. So everything that they all do. Yes.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah.
I love Arakagor.
I'm really happy
Yeah.
with how he
Mhm.
came out. He was
Heck
fun.
yeah.
Arakagor is that seems to be a huge favorite among people with
Definitely.
paints, for sure.
Big time.
Fun.
There's flat, there's iridescence, there's metallic, like the armor, how it's all like
Mhm.
worn and corroded.
Patinaed,
and-
yeah.
right,
It's a
yeah.
really
and
good
there's
contrast
so much
between-
going on.
Mhm.
Like for
Mhm.
something that's so like monochromatic, it checks so many boxes.
Yeah.
And it makes the little kid in me really happy. A big blue dragon man, like it just freaking wins.
Hell
One
yeah.
of the things I find is really fun to do is like with him, it is really monochromatic, but then you get stuff like Krampus is monochromatic, skeletons are monochromatic, the Mask of the Red Death monochromatic. And I like the challenge of getting a really super limited palette like that. Like you have one color to work with, 2 colors to work with, and
Yeah.
still trying to make the composition look interesting and make it
Yeah.
pop. That,
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think
Yeah,
once you get to a
nails
certain
it.
point, you like those challenges. Like I like, hey, can I make this work with 2 lights? Like, can I just take 2 lights and make the shot like look really, really cool? Yeah, it's fun to do that kind of stuff for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, Rob Zamora, $4.99. We're getting to this is a 2-parter. Do each of the painters on screen have a favorite painter in the toy industry that you look up to, or painters outside the toy industry? Yeah, where do you guys get inspiration from, or any?
Well, I think I mentioned the fact that John Wardell, and at the time Robert Mankowski. I don't think Robert's been in the toy industry for years, but I'll have to say John Wardell because he helped me out a lot at the beginning there, and he's over at NECA. I haven't seen what he's been doing. I don't know specifically what he does, but I have a lot of admiration for him. He's super talented, super kind.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's so many people out there too. And then also Kat, I don't remember. I don't know. There's a lot of people that I admire in the industry. So,
Cool.
yeah. Yeah.
How about anybody else? Anybody specific or?
I don't really know anybody in the industry outside of Four Horsemen. I kind of came into the toy industry from outside it. I did freelance for McFarlane years ago, but it wasn't the kind of thing where I was aware of specific other painters or their styles.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
How about
of
mini painters? Like, are there any that come to mind that?
Yeah,
perhaps
I mean, John Blanche, who was the art director at Games Workshop for a long time, and created, what's known now as the Grimdark style. Just a fantastic artist, a really nice guy, and his art, whether it's 2D or mini painting or whatever, is really inspirational for me.
Cool.
There's wild stuff going on in the mini stuff. I get across my feed all the time now, just like those quick videos about, people, and like some of the hot metal and chromed metal styles that you do for a mini, where it's like you're faking painting the reflection of, you know what I mean, to get that chromed out look or something on a piece of like armor or something like that, or that fire, which is something you really can't necessarily do within this style, right? Like within Legions, you're going to paint something silver and it's going, it's so big you can't do that kind of stuff.
I think the technique you're talking about is NMM, non-metallic metals. So it's
that's one of them. Yeah.
It's
same
like
thing with flames and things like that.
Yeah, what a 2D painter would do to indicate metallic. It looks amazing. I think the limitation of it is it usually only looks good from one very specific angle.
Exactly.
So with the toy that you have to move, the reflections would move, but when they don't, then it looks weird when you have a piece turned in a different way. So that doesn't really apply to the
yeah, they're actually shading for like light that isn't there. Like, yeah.
It's cell shading on like animated
looks
characters.
incredible, but like
And then could China reinterpret that too?
Exactly,
right.
And at a cost.
I mean, I'm sure they
not
could,
cost prohibitive, as well. Yeah. How about either Joe or Eric? Anybody that you like outside, in the industry or outside the industry that you can think of? Or...
My gut reaction is, and like honestly, being able to spin around in my chair and ask Cameron how to go about doing something. Or go to Sherry and say, I'm not getting this color right. What would you suggest, like in-house? Like, absolutely love and appreciate it.
That's pretty good.
It's crazy, but if I want to talk about outside the studio, whoever's doing the work on Beast in the Mesozoic, their dinosaurs, I think they do some really awesome work.
Yeah, good call there.
Really awesome work. Yeah, I don't know their name, but, I mean, if I find out, I'll give them a shout. But I really dig what they do,
and that's a shout out. Like all these companies should be putting people on the back of their boxes, man. Give some credit, man. Yeah, I don't know if they do or not. I can't tell. I'm not sure. I think they're pretty good with credits though, like artwork and stuff on the boxes and things like that. I'm not sure if they do the painters, but they should.
How about you, Eric?
Eric, anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I painted before I knew about the Four Horsemen, but Mythic Legions has really rounded out my style. I mean, I definitely don't copy what I see in Mythic Legions so much, but Mythic Legions is what pushed me to learn contrast and light, shading, weathering. I mean, all that kind of cool stuff that I probably wouldn't have gotten into if it weren't for this line. So, I mean, obviously, people like Sherry and Cameron and Joe are people that I have looked up to for a very long time. And I don't know many other people.
You can look up literally right now and just
I mean, there are definitely other companies that I admire and other paint shops. I see a lot of the stuff that you see from NECA and stuff. I mean, they've got great painters too. But I mean, honestly, sincerely, my answer would be, the guys that are on screen right now.
Good answer.
Yeah.
And Eric, I look at some of your stuff and I'm like, I don't think I could do that. I don't like if I gave myself time, I would try, but like honestly, like
I think that's with a lot of things. Like there's things that Nate does that I'm like I can't reproduce that. You know what I mean? Like no, I'm talking about Nate Strong now, but Nate Barch too. Like I can't. No, but that I can't reproduce. You know what I mean? Like there's people have a style and they do things, and it's like I can approximate that. I can kind of figure out maybe what they're doing, but it's once you get into a rhythm and you get your thing going and you can do it. And you got a style, and like it's great to look up to that stuff, but you can't really replicate that perfectly. So,
speaking of Nate, I was going to ask: has his art ever influenced any of the paint schemes that you guys come up with, or is his stuff so far after the fact too, like your photographer?
Not always. When what was the big Minotaur we just did?
Right. Well, he did that like years ago before like you even had that.
Rogerion?
Right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I forget. I kept calling him the cowboy because he's just a big cow. But it's
cowboy.
The butterscotch colored big,
Yeah.
large Minotaur that was, I don't even remember what wave it is, but my paint reference for that was that box art that Nate had done. I'm like, here, match this. So
he was first. That's right.
That's cool. Yeah, that's an instance. Good.
All right,
cool.
one quick question for everybody, just to hopefully it's a quick answer too, and we'll get out of here. If you could repaint the dragon any color, what would it be, Eric? You better say purple.
I would like to see one that's mainly black and purple. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, Joe.
Grayscale.
Grayscale, like grayscale, like black and
like
white.
Black and white.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Honestly,
cool. I may buy one and have you do that. That'd be pretty cool. Cameron, what's it going to be?
I'm going to go with that monochromatic thing. So I would want to see either all black or all white.
White.
Like when I did the Stavros, is that the one for Big Bad Toy Store?
Yeah.
That was pretty much like a standard black, but I like taking something that's not real saturated and putting like a whole rainbow of tones and stuff in there. So
that's what people seeing in the face, all the colors that are in the face of Stavros now, like seeing all that detail and stuff that I obviously didn't capture on the picture.
Sometimes the thing with that though, Trevor, is sometimes it's there, but we just don't zoom in enough to really like pay attention.
It is there.
Just kind
it is there. I see it on screen, but the picture is this big. Yes, so you can't.
Right. People don't zoom in enough.
Point being,
you have
that
to
would be
light,
really
so
cool.
you don't see the light moving over surfaces and catching deeper areas, and especially when it's iridescent. It's really hard to pick up iridescent.
Tell me about it. Yeah. But like, all that I could see that in a black dragon. That'd be really cool. All right, sure, you've done it. But like, if you could do it all over again and you had your choice as to what color you'd paint the dragon, what would you paint it?
Whatever colors my boss tells me.
No. Eric is no.
He's not here. He's not listening.
He's giving you carte blanche to do whatever you want. What are you going to do?
Whatever my boss is telling. No, the thing is,
Red.
when this is a success and through time, that question will be answered. Yeah, you know what I mean. So.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've heard of we all heard of the potential for this, and I like some of the potential other paints that might happen down through time, and no, I'm good with it. I'm good with it right now.
You're trying not to give anything away, is what you're saying. You don't want
to. Well, yeah.
Red.
I mean,
like do a red. Like red would be cool. I think
that's
red.
What I said. Yeah.
I want to know who's. Cool. I'm hoping that they have test shots of this thing because I want a test shot dragon. I'm
also that's interesting.
I know it's
selling stuff to get a test shot
casually about the test shots of the dragon. I have no idea how realistic that is, but something that occurred to us as well. It's like, man, people are going to want to like, paint their own stuff.
Right.
I'm not painting it. I just want the test shot.
History has shown that we seem to make test shots of almost every part.
Yeah, maybe the butter dragon. Butter dragon would be cool. That'd be cool. Guys, this was fantastic, and I really appreciate you guys coming on all together. Getting you all in the same room at the same time is fantastic. I'm gonna get Bill on by himself, man. We're just gonna.
I think you should. He's been in the industries for so long, and he's so
I love
talented.
talking to Bill. I love talking to Bill.
Yeah,
I love walking around shows with Bill, and he points out all the stuff that I had as a kid that he worked on. It blows my mind. I've been a fan of Bill before I even knew him. It's insane.
Hey, Trevor, you need to get Bill and Dan on together.
Yeah, that too.
They're thick as thieves, those two.
If you don't know Dan,
I know Dan. Yep.
Okay, but he collaborates closely with Bill, especially like on the life-size statues and stuff.
And that last few dioramas.
When you get them together,
that'd be a great show.
They did the Ox-Screw diorama, which was insane. Yeah, I really want to talk. I wanted to get them on after they did that and it just didn't come together. But we're definitely going to get them on to talk about that. But thank you guys, man. This was enlightening and fun, and you guys are awesome. We really appreciate everything you guys do to get. Hey, Kitty!
Oh,
hey, that's a big kitty! Wow,
Marzipan came in to say hello.
That is a big kitty. Yeah, thank you very much for everything you do, getting these things and making them as beautiful as they are.
Congrats again to Eric. Super happy for you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome aboard,
I'm
Really
Eric.
happy to
glad
have
you're
you.
on our
More of what
team.
you're doing.
And
Thank
thanks
you,
to everyone
guys.
watching, because we can't do what we love for a living without your support. And
Oh, for sure. Oh,
as niche as it sounds, it's true.
Absolutely.
it's true.
Thank you all for sticking with us. This is a great show. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't stick around. I could go for another hour with these guys. But
Right.
Congratulations to Brendan. Hit me up. We'll get you Adalric out, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Don't know who the guest is going to be, but we'll have something cool, and we'll have dragon details. Looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yep.
we're going to be in the midst of dragon fever, man, like the march to the dragon. So that's going to be
Heck yeah.
exciting. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the super
Thanks
chats.
for the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, guys.
Bye,
Good night.
everyone.
Cheers.
Good night.